All right, so here we are.
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
How are you?
We're here at Munising School Public Library, and we're going to talk about some books today. I am Lisa Cromell,
I'm Kristin Fondriest.
and we have the incredible pleasure of working with books every day. So today we're going to talk about some of the things that we've been working on reading, and some of the things that are available here or that you can interlibrary loan. And then when we're done, we're going to talk about our favorite topic, chocolate. So anyway, Kristin, you've been reading all kinds of things.
I have been reading all kinds of things. And I generally like to do a mix of...
Welcome to school.
We're not in trouble, it's okay. Fiction and nonfiction. So if you have interest in any of those things and want some recommendations, let us know.
Mm-hmm.
So for fiction, one of the things that I read recently that I was pleasantly surprised by, because I had never read this author, and we actually have a number of his books.
Mm-hmm.
But this is his latest one. It's called Burn by Peter Heller. And I just found this to be such a great read because it has a lot of elements. It has an element of tension and suspense and adventure survival, because the story is of these two guys who've been friends forever, since they grew up together, and now they are adults. One of them is married with a couple kids. The other one had a partner who recently left him, and he didn't even get the dog, so he's not in a good place in his life. But they take annual hunting trips. So
yes.
they're on one of their annual hunting trips in Maine. They come out of the woods, and the world has been destroyed in Maine. They're coming out to these towns that are literally burned to the ground. They have no idea what's going on. And so it's their journey through these towns, and it's very dangerous. They see people get shot and killed. They can't really find many survivors. And so you have this suspenseful survival adventure aspect of these guys just trying to survive out in the wilderness, not knowing what's going on, traversing through these towns that have been razed to the ground. But intermixed with that is these memories of growing up and, diving into kind of the depths of their relationship and who they are. So there's some vulnerability there, some exploration of male friendships. I found it really to be a great read.
I thought that this was really interesting, and the reviews on this were all over the board. One of the things that really struck me was that Elle magazine described this as like Mark Twain and Toni Morrison, if you can imagine that combination.
Yeah.
But it does. Peter Heller's rare. His books are different than your regular.
Well, and
run of the mill.
I had not read him before, and after reading this book, I'm like, I want to read more of this author.
Well, and he writes a lot of nonfiction as well that I think he's noted for, and I think it's somebody that when you see his books on the shelf, you can't like pigeonhole him and say this is what he's going to be.
Sure.
No, I think
I liked another description that describes him as Hemingway minus the machismo. So I thought that was interesting too. So I recommend this one, and then like I said, we have a bunch of other books by him on the shelf as well.
Yeah.
So
I think it's a broad appeal. I think anybody picking this up, it doesn't matter who you are, that will be really good. And I noticed that the next book that you have is one that I literally think is probably one of the finest nonfiction books I've ever read in my life. So why don't you hold that one up?
Yes, so Crucial Conversations, this has been updated. So this particular one is the second edition. And has there been even an update since then?
There might have been. I haven't.
But I have heard Lisa
I
have heard Lisa talk about and recommend this book for years. And I said, I'm going to finally read this,
and what did you think?
It's excellent.
We're late for class.
The skills that and the tools that this gives you are so relevant in anybody's life for any situation, and it's really emotional regulation for adults.
Really,
the same stuff that we're
I agree.
kids.
The emotional regulation and just the ability for people to understand that there are times when the stakes are high, and if you're having a conversation, if you do not really think about what you're saying and how you're delivering that message, you could do more harm than good.
Yeah.
You really need to make sure that those moments in your life when that conversation is absolutely at its most important point, you need to be prepared for what you're going to say. And the crucial conversations, there's a companion book called Crucial Confrontations, and same thing. There are moments in your life where you've got to come face to face with an issue, and having the ability to manage that confrontation, manage that situation. These are vital tools, not just for business, not just for high stakes things, but for life. Relationships.
Personal relationships.
If you can't handle yourself in a conversation, you really need to take a look at these tools to help you be a better communicator.
And it's nicely laid out because it kind of has steps and a progression, but it also is chock full of real life examples.
Yes.
And at the end of the book, it gets to a point where it addresses all the people that might be like, oh, this is great, but what if? But what if? And it kind of goes through that. So I think there's some great tools here. I think we can all work on our communication, and I think it's valuable for all of us. So. And
the other one that comes behind that is Influencer, which I actually have not read yet. I've read the other two, and that's on my list. Yeah. And we all talk about social media influencers, but we all have influencers in our life, people that we come across every day. And when you read Malcolm Gladwell and his books, he talks about in The Tipping Point that there are people that can change situations one way or another, and it's really by their ability to connect or their ability to attract or those things. And those types of books, those types of nonfiction books, really help you navigate through a lot of things, not just with work, but with your personal life. So, highly recommend.
I highly recommend it too.
So this one, you recommended to me. I have not read this all the way yet. I had it on my desk. I will fully admit it has been on my desk, but I've been into something else.
So Jason Reynolds is a highly decorated and loved and regarded YA and junior author. And he was the National Ambassador for Youth Literature a couple years ago. He's got a pretty large body of work.
Tremendous, yes. This is darling, though.
He's just excellent. I've never read something by him that I didn't afterwards just go, oh,
I love this book.
I love it. And this is no exception. This is a young high school boy navigating his first time with his girlfriend.
Yep.
And it is so beautifully vulnerable and authentic, and just really gives a voice.
The opening scene of him and looking into the mirror, and just all of his self-doubts and his insecurities, and it was such a natural opening to a book, and just like a window into a youthful mind, and just the nerves and the excitement, because he knows what he's planning, and it's just thoughtful.
This is a neatly done book too, because you start in the present and then you go 24 seconds previously.
Yep.
24 minutes previously, 24 days, 24 hours, and it keeps going progressively back, so it paints this picture that led up
their
to
sweet
this
relationship.
moment. Yeah. And as he says in his afterword or acknowledgments at the back, Black boys deserve love stories too.
It's
and
a
that's
tremendous,
what this is. So it's gorgeous.
Tremendous read. Yeah. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. So on that same vein of love, the book that I picked up when I was on my trip downstate last week, I had read the reviews on this. Kristin,
so
unbeknownst to
excited.
me, Kristin had wanted to read this too. And I picked up this book for the library and I said, this book for me, I think is something that would appeal to just about anybody. But this incredible story by Nickolas Butler, he is just spot on with this. And I read a really cool interview with him about this book. It's called A 40-Year Kiss, and it's the story of two people who had been married in their early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
They were married for 4 years. There were a lot of issues, including the fact that, you know, he probably partied a little too much, and they broke up. They were separated 40 years. He had remarried a couple of times. She had kids. Life went on, and then they reconnect 40 years later, first through Facebook, some phone calls. A few months go by, and then they decide to meet. So an interview with Nickolas Butler, he actually lives in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. He was in his neighborhood pub in downtown Chippewa Falls, and he was working a Sudoku puzzle, having a couple of beers, and probably a Leinenkugel. And he said that he accidentally overheard a conversation between a man and a woman. And the man said, I have loved you for 40 years, and asked if he could kiss her. And he kind of expected like a little peck on the cheek kind of thing. And what he witnessed was this unbelievable, passionate reunion between these two people in the downtown bar.
I love this.
And he said he couldn't get it out of his mind. And so he decided, I'm going to write this story.
Oh, I love it.
I'm going to write this story. And that's exactly what it is. The characters are absolutely endearing. It's Charlie and Vivian, and they are flawed humans like we all are, and they have this need to reconnect. And it really is the story of how they work through their differences. They work through some things that maybe weren't shared back in the day. And really, you know, a love story for the ages. So a 40-year kiss, we've all heard those stories, right? Mm-hmm. We've all heard the story about, you know, we were in love and then we went our separate ways. This is that story and how it happened. So 40-year kiss.
I can't wait to read it.
As soon as I'm done with it, it's yours, Kristin.
I love it. I love it.
So there you are. And you can get your copy after we're done with it here at the library.
So currently what I am diving into is another nonfiction work by Iliana Regan, and it's called Fieldwork, A Forager's Memoir. We have another book by her, another memoir called Burn the Place.
Right.
She is a high-end chef that opened this, well, she works at many restaurants, but she had a high-end restaurant in Chicago, I believe. And so her first memoir, Burn the Place, was really incredible. She's a great writer, and getting a window into her experiences with addiction and being a woman in the world of men chefs. It was really good. And I remember at the end, that book kind of ended that she was opening a place in the Upper Peninsula.
Right.
And so I thought, oh my gosh, Upper Peninsula.
Right in our backyard.
Yeah, but this came out in 2023, and it actually goes more into her experiences opening her in the Hiawatha National Forest, and talks about,
I love the cover.
Yes, her experiences growing up on a farm in Indiana, and how that shaped her, and now being in the middle of the woods in the Upper Peninsula, foraging for ingredients. So her inn is called the Milkweed Inn, and it's not a place I will unfortunately probably ever go to. It costs a few $1,000s to go for the weekend. But yeah, so I've just started this, and I think it's going to be really good. Her descriptions of the woods and all the different things you can use. She talks about using all the different plants. It's amazing what she does with what she forages from the land.
Well, I just really like the way that she describes things too. And I remember looking at this and saying, you know, I really want to read this book. And I just flipped open and found a cool passage. So I'm going to read it. It said, "A mom and dad are like milkweed when the pods turn brown, splitting at the seams and spilling out the furry seeds. The seeds, they look furry, and I'm trying to catch them, wanting to put them back together, neat and precise. I want to put them back like how I remember them in 1984. I want to hold them like the stuffed lion from the county fair, tucking them beneath my arm. I want to care for them like they cared for me, making me feel safe in our farmhouse, even if it wasn't always safe. They're both scared of leaving us, I can tell, but they know we'll be all right. They've done a decent enough job. We'll get by somehow, but I already miss them."
Yeah, just gorgeous.
Just gorgeous stuff.
Yes.
So, Forager's Memoir, Fieldwork by Iliana Regan. Nice,
And this
nice,
is
nice.
going to be a selection in our 25-26 Alger Reads book club that we have
Ooh,
here
is that
at the
a sneak
library.
peek, a quick reveal of the new list?
So, yep,
Yeah.
this one is on, this one's a selection for that.
Perfect, perfect. Well, I think we've got some good reading going on here.
Oh my gosh.
There's so many good books on the shelf, and we welcome everybody to come down to the library and have a look at what we've got here. And if you can't find anything, we'll find something for you.
Mm-hmm.
So just a couple things to let you know what we have coming up. We have Hometown Art coming April 1st. That is one of our biggest celebrations of individual youth artists, and we invite everybody to come. April is Poetry Month, so we're going to have a numerous days where we're going to put out some books by some famous poets and let people just browse through and read their favorite out loud. We have Jeff Cass coming later in the month. He is going to be on the 23rd. He's going to be at By George in a sponsored event by the library doing Poetry on Tap. Jeff's been here before. He's phenomenal, and he has a new book coming out, so we're super excited about that. I believe his poetry is based on superheroes.
He is just, and to hear him read his work, perform his work, it's meant to be heard, I think.
Yes, it is.
And it's an experience. I just don't miss him. He's awesome.
He is. We also have a whole week worth of activities going on for Earth Day. We have Earth Fest happening. That's together with the Acres Group, and we're going to have numerous speakers, including Steve Waller, who will be here on the 22nd at 6 o'clock doing Carbon Capture Forest Program. We're going to have John Forsland here doing a heat pump program at 6 o'clock on the 23rd, just before you go to catch Jeff Cass down at By George. And then at 6 o'clock on the 24th, we're going to be doing Climate Change Jeopardy with Steve Waller, and I think that sounds like a hoot. Lots of activities going on. There'll be some great displays during Earth Fest. We love to have anybody come in. And Alger Reads Book Club will meet at 6 o'clock on the 29th, reading Last on His Feet. So you want to give us a quick overview of that?
Well, sure. So Last on His Feet is a graphic novel written for adults, a nonfiction graphic novel about the famous boxer, Jack Johnson. It'll be really interesting.
That'll be interesting. First time we've done a graphic novel.
Yes. It'll be great.
It'll be great. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Celebrate your libraries. It's School Library Month. It is National Library Week, the 6th through the 12th. And if you care to, go to the American Library Association page at ala.org. You can find out how you can help libraries. So lots of information about being an advocate for your library. With that, I think we might want to take a look at some chocolate.
Okay.
So this week I went to South Bend, Indiana to visit my son, Dylan. Shout out to Dylan. Thank you for taking me to the South Bend Chocolate Company. And I procured this nice little bar that they gave us, and it has a picture of Quetzalcoatl, who, he was a Aztec god. And so we all know that chocolate came from the Aztecs, so I'm going to scoot a piece out for you, Kristin.
Oh my gosh.
And you're going to try this freshly made. All right, bust it in half.
All right, is this a milk chocolate?
This is a milk chocolate from the South Bend Chocolate Company, which I got the tour, and we got to go through the factory and everything. Got to wear a hairnet. It was great.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they fed us. I can't remember how much it was to get in, but it was totally worth it because they totally fed us in chocolate.
Oh, yeah.
Probably better than that Mexican salt chocolate we did the last time.
I couldn't hide my distaste for that
It
one.
was very salty. This is not.
Mm,
It's like super smooth.
that's good.
They had all kinds of stuff. Lots of seasonal things. They make all the chocolate bunnies. They had a chocolate bunny mold that was like 3.5, 4 feet tall.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Mm,
So
that's yummy. Thank
that
you.
is good. It is good. We'll save this one for the next time because that's enough chocolate for me. So again, I am Lisa Cromell. This is Kristin Fondriest. We're at Munising School Public Library making videos that we don't really know how to edit. But we'll post it up for you to see. And we'll be back again with more books and chocolate.
Thank you.